One of the best things about Pod Stars was that it had a changing group of experts and guests who gave the claims on the show some credibility. One expert who stood out was Rebecca Romney, who was an expert on rare books. Her sharp views and charming personality made show fans fall in love with her right away. Then, all of a sudden, she was no longer on the show after several seasons and many episodes, which confused many fans, which made people wonder what happened to her. There are a lot of ideas about why she left, but was it really her choice, or was there something else going on behind the scenes? We need to find out what really happened when Rebecca Romney mysteriously disappeared from Pawn Stars. Stay with us as we look into what she has been doing since she lost the attention. History Channel's Pawn Stars, which is about a normal pawn shop, became one of the most popular TV shows when it premiered in 2009. It had millions of fans who watched every episode. Many fans know something about the Harrison family, who ran the shop and played a big part in the show, but not much was known about their guest experts. And it wasn't a big deal until some of these guest experts made an impact that would last. Rebecca Romney was one of them. It didn't take long for people to like her after she repeatedly used her knowledge of rare and old books to help the shop workers, the shop itself, and its customers. Soon, fans were eager to learn more about their favorite guest star. People did some research and found out that Rebecca was born and raised in the Las Vegas area. She has always loved reading. Her very first job was teaching people how to swim. She says that she got into the business of selling rare books by chance. She began to learn French and Japanese when she was in high school. After that, she learned Old Greek and Latin while she was in college. She has a degree in both ancient studies and language. Even though they had a lot of intellectual experience, it had nothing to do with the world of rare books. Before she got into the rare book business, she worked for Bauman Rare Books in Las Vegas in the middle of the 2000s. The business had just opened a new site there, so she could get to a lot of rare books, manuscripts, and historical papers. It would have been hard to find chances like this anywhere else. Rebecca said in a Quanda session, "The company I work for, Bauman Rare Books, really supports what I do. They've been around for a long time and have offices in both Philadelphia and New York. A group of us buy books all the time for a living. That's my real job, running the Las Vegas gallery, putting up old books. It's not something I do for a living. I'm busy enough running the store." Rebecca was made store manager in just a few years. When Pawn Stars producers got in touch with her, she was already well known in her part. Rebecca made history when she was one of the few women experts on the show. She stood out from the rest of the group, and from other experts because she was calm and smart, had a good eye for details, and knew a lot about literature. Even though her full name is Rebecca Angeline Engiat, she doesn't talk about her private life much. She does not talk much about her family or where she lives at the moment, but her work still speaks for itself. Her journey may have begun with a degree that had nothing to do with rare books and an unplanned first step into the field, but her determination drove her forward. Rebecca even went to a rare book school to learn more, which helped her move up at Bauman Rare Books from salesman to gallery manager and then to senior director. All of this in a short amount of time. Because of her unique skills and her appearance on Pawn Stars, she will be remembered forever. Compared to other returning experts, she brought something new, both in terms of how she looked and the field she was an expert in. Fans still don't know what happened to her or where she is now. The first time Rebecca was seen on TV was in the 4th season of Pawn Stars, which ran in the early 2010s. That was the start of her becoming one of the show's most often invited experts. People will remember her appearances for a long time, even after her last show in the middle of the 2010s. She wasn't just in charge of judging the old books that came into the shop, though. How did she get on Pawn Stars? To answer that question, we need to look at how the show first worked. The show, which was filmed in Las Vegas, showed real people taking valuable or unusual things to a gold and silver pawn shop to be valued or sold. The most common thing brought in was still jewelry. But the show became famous because it showed interesting historical items. Background information about these things was often shown in each episode, generally given by Rick or his father. But there were times when Rick and the team weren't sure how to rate something. When this happened, they would get experts from outside the group to help them figure out how real it was and how much it was worth. This made the show and the shop look more professional and gave it more respect. It also made people more likely to believe in the process they saw on TV. When making final estimates, experts would even look at how much it would cost to fix things. This is where Rebecca came in. There were a lot of guest experts on the show, but Rebecca stuck out. She knew a lot more than that. She was also great on camera, which fit the format of the show exactly. One reason her role worked so well was that she already knew Rick Harrison at a personal level. Before she was in front of the camera, they already knew each other. Yes, before the show became popular. They already knew each other, and that made them even closer. She said that they and I are friends and that we've been on double dates and other things, but that happened after we spent time together making the show. I do sometimes do behind the scenes consulting for Rick, she said, but most of the time I come in for filming, which can be as few as once a month or as many as 3 times a week. It will depend on when they find a book they want to shoot with. That kind of book is brought in, and she is told what it is before shooting begins. But she usually doesn't get to see it until she gets to the set and the camera starts rolling. That meant that her feelings and opinions on screen were often very real, which fans liked because it made the show seem more real. But in show business, things can change quickly, and sometimes the item isn't even what she was told it was. Rebecca said, to deal with such a situation, for me, there are millions of books out there. I don't know the intricate details of every possible book off the top of my head, but I know a good amount. Anyone who is an expert in that field will tell you that another part of being an expert is knowing where to find reliable information. So, for the most part, I have to know something before I go. This is true even though Romney doesn't work for the show. She is called ahead of time because she is a guest expert. She says she works full-time at an exhibition and can't just drop everything and go there whenever. She also said that behind the scenes, she sometimes gave Rick advice. She did show up for a few scenes though, most of the time. Rebecca's path on Pawn Stars wasn't by chance. A lot of real-life experience, good working connections, and a natural fit for TV made it possible. She gave the show more authority and depth, which made her one of the most memorable experts in its long history. There was a lot that Rebecca knew about Pawn Stars, especially when it came to rare books, papers, and manuscripts. Her special skills gave the show something extra, which made her an important part of what made it so fun. Rebecca was on the show for a long time and became known for how well she could judge rare and expensive books, especially ones from the 15th to the 20th centuries. Her well-thought-out opinions showed that she really did know what she was talking about. But because reality TV can feel planned at times, a lot of her fans were curious about whether or not her appearances on the show were real or fake. At that point, the show was in the middle of a big scandal that made it impossible to keep going. Several people said that the whole show was staged. Once, a fan was picked to be an extra on the show. He said that his part took almost an hour to film, and that they had to run several scenes. He said, they brought that cool museum guy in to make sure the piece was real. A few of the talks were reshot because they didn't seem to follow a script very well. The girl with the thing finally chose not to sell it. That day she didn't just walk in, but no one seemed to have a plan to follow either. Clearly this fan proved that the show wasn't fake, as some said. This fan's story also made it clear that when producers see something interesting that they want to show on TV, they may tell the seller to come back at a different time, because filming needs time to plan. Then, when they come for the shooting, there may also be regular people there to buy things. People like that get scared because they're probably going to be on camera for the first time, and may look tense. With that, you might need more than one try to get it right. Some things have been cut from the show because the seller couldn't pull them off on camera, but this doesn't happen very often. Brent Montgomery, an executive producer on the show, made another good point when he said that buyers were checked out before they came on Pawn Stars. We need to make sure that these people will really sell the stuff at a fair price behind closed doors. It's just that they want to be on TV. That was pretty easy for us to figure out. Becky also gave her voice when fans asked if the show was fake. They are still a pawn shop that works. Yes, there is now stuff in half of the space, but they still buy and sell other things and pawn them. As far as I know, I've never been in an expert scene where the seller or the thing was planted. For most people, That seemed to clear up the claims. In addition to the money they were making, the show made the people who were on it very famous, turning them into reality TV stars. It was bad for the Pawn Stars cast that there were some deaths. Chumley, Corey Harrison's friend and co-star, was a fan favorite. He brought his own sense of humor and interesting personality to the show, which made it more fun to watch. But he soon got into a lot of problem with the law because he was accused of sexual assault. And when they searched his house for evidence in the case, they found a gun and a lot of drugs. He was caught and charged with 19 counts of drug crimes and 1 count of having a weapon. He had to pay more than $60,000 in bail. But the Pawn Stars star made a deal with investigators months after he was arrested. He avoided going to jail because of the deal, which was made easier by the fact that there was no proof of the sexual attack charge against him, even after a full investigation. After 2 years and 10 years of Pawn Stars, Richard, an old man who had Parkinson's disease for a while, died at the age of 77. Corey Harrison got in trouble with the law 5 years after his grandpa died. His Ford truck went from the right-hand lane to the bike lane early in the morning on September 8, 23. This led to his arrest for DUI. When Corey was pulled over by police, his eyes were said to be bloodshot, watery and droopy. He also smelled like alcohol and failed a field sobriety test. Rick had to deal with a second loss when Corey's brother Adam Harrison died. It made all the other sadness seem like nothing. A police report says that Adam Harrison was discovered dead in a guest house in the middle of January 2024. According to the report, Adam hadn't been seen in a few days, so the owner went to Adam's guest house and found him not responding. Fans were scared for other Pawn Stars like Rebecca, who was appearing on the show less and less because of all these bad things happening. This was her last episode on the show. It was called Field Trip, and it aired during the 9th season in 2014. From then on, she was never seen on the show again. As you might expect, this made people very curious, especially since she was a well-known expert. Even stranger was the fact that neither Rebecca nor the directors ever explained why she was leaving. This lack of knowledge made people even more interested, which led to more rumors and guesses. Some of her friends thought she might have been fired. Others wondered if she had had problems with other group members, but no one knows for sure why she quit, so everyone is left guessing what might have happened. Though there was no official word, there is one idea that makes sense. Rebecca probably quit the show because she needed to move up in her job. Bomb and Rare Books in Las Vegas said she was leaving, and the company said she started a new job in their Philadelphia office. The move would have made it hard for her to keep going on Pawn Stars because the show is shot there. The timeline on her LinkedIn page shows that she changed jobs around the same time she quit the show, which backs up this idea. She may still stay in touch with the Pawn Stars group, but who knows for sure. The public doesn't know anything about their present relationship. People know that Rebecca and Rick Harrison were friends in real life, but there have been no public appearances or signs that they're still in touch. It's still unclear to fans what kind of relationship Rebecca has with the Pawn Stars group right now. Rebecca had quickly moved up in her job at Bomb and Rare Books. She finally got a promotion to a bigger job with more responsibility and became the senior director at Bomb and Rare Books, working directly for Natalie Bauman, who co-founded the company. She worked at Bauman as a director until around 2016, when she made a big change. She quit the company to work for Honey and Wax, a company that sells rare books. It was late 2018 when she wrote an online piece about some of her favorite Honey and Wax books. A French version of Edgar Allan Poe's work and a magazine called Black Orpheus were among these. It was a big step for her to decide to leave Bauman, but the exact reasons are still not clear. But she also quit Honey and Wax in the middle of 2019. That time the reason was clearer. She wanted to start her own business selling rare books and run it. The name of the company is Type Punch Matrix, and it's based in Washington, D.C., where Rebecca lives now. People know that the company cares about making the rare book world a more interesting and modern place by being careful and welcoming. From about 2016 to 2017, Rebecca worked on a number of projects on her own before she started her own business. Every step of her journey was led by her love of rare books. Rebecca and her husband, J.P. Romney, was co-hosts of a show called Biblioclast. They could talk about their love of books on the show, and the conversations were often fun and lively. Sometimes they even had small disagreements about different literary topics. Rebecca's work in the world of rare books kept growing even after she quit Pawn Stars and her other jobs in the rare book business. In 2019, she was in The Booksellers, a well-known documentary. This movie looked into the lives of people who buy, sell, and keep old and rare books safe. It was shown at several important film events around the world. People who saw the movie liked her part in it. Variety magazine even called her the happy optimist of books. For the movie, Rebecca is still hard at work on projects involving rare books. She is still a strong voice in the rare book world through her business, Type Punch Matrix, her podcast, and other things she does. One of the things that drives her is her desire to protect and share rare books and papers. People all over the world who love books and collect them are still inspired by her knowledge and energy. The things that happen in Rebecca's personal life are best kept secret. She has accounts on social networks like Instagram and Twitter, but she doesn't post personal information there very often. People know that she is married to J.P. Romney, who is a famous author and wrote the book The Monster on the Road Is Me. A website called Fierce Reads that is all about books says that the pair has 2 kids. She is also a published author, which is not a surprise. Printer's Errors is the name of the book she and her husband wrote together. They both clearly love books a lot, which is probably what brought them together in the first place. News outlets like the New York Times and the Washington Post praised their teamwork. These outlets also said that the book was fun to read and easy to understand, even when it talked about complicated topics. Rebecca has written a lot of stories for well-known websites and magazines, in addition to this book she co-wrote. She has written about rare and valuable books on the Bauman Rare Books blog, where she taught people new things. Her writing has also been featured on famous websites like Crime Reads, Literary Hub, and Mental Floss. There, she gave readers expert advice and kept their attention with her deep knowledge of literature. Rebecca has also done work behind the scenes in the world of books. She has helped edit books and written introductions for other works. This shows how flexible she is and how much she knows about many types of writing and book study. A lot of people have asked Rebecca if she is connected to U.S. Senator Mitt Romney. Yes, but only if you get married. J.P. Romney, Rebecca's husband, is a member of the Romney political family. But J.P. has taken a different path and has not gone into politics like other members of his family. But Rebecca is good at a lot more than just reading and writing. She can also speak and understand a lot of different languages, which is very amazing. She speaks Japanese, Latin, French, and Greek very well. Besides that, she is learning Old English right now, which is known to be very hard. Language skills help her with her job because they let her read old and rare books in their original language, instead of using translations. She now has a better and deeper understanding of the books and what they mean. You might be interested in what kinds of books Rebecca likes to read if you are also a book lover. Rebecca likes to read a lot of different things. She likes adventure, science fiction, and love stories. Rebecca recently showed up on the Case Western Reserve University YouTube account. During this show, she talked about rare books and shared interesting facts about myths about old books. Since Rebecca now lives in Philadelphia, it looks like she is trying new things in her life. A lot of fans would love for her to come back to the show, but it doesn't look like that will happen anytime soon. There is good news though, if you still want to enjoy her deep knowledge of rare books. Rebecca often gives talks at colleges and is on a number of shows. She keeps telling more people about her love of rare books through these public events and videos. You can also find Rebecca on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, among other social networks. She sometimes posts news about her job, her business, and her favorite books on these sites. This keeps her friends in touch and lets them keep learning from. She worked very hard and was very enthusiastic on her way from Pawn Stars to starting her own rare book business. She may not have been on Pawn Stars, but she never stopped loving what she did. She is still a recognized voice in her field because she is thoughtful, knows a lot, and has a quiet impact. Rebecca has always loved bringing rare books to life, and she still does so through her business, public speaking, and writing.